The modern office worker or even student suffers from information overload. Bombarded with emails, increasingly Facebook, maybe even Twitter, all throughout the day, and all while we're trying to get on with something else.
You feel that you should respond as soon as possible to everything that comes in.
It's an addiction. It's an irrational addiction.
You can chase your tail with all the information you get through.
Now scientists are investigating how the brain copes with all this extra pressure. I went to the Sussex Innovation Centre in Brighton to find out more.
We also measure your brain activity using this EEG cap.
To measure my brain activity, I'm wearing this rather ridiculous-looking cap.
This gel conducts electricity better than the air.
It contains electrodes which need to rest on an injected gel to pick up the electrical signals my brain is sending out. Once hooked up to a computer, it monitors how my brain copes with completing a rather mundane office task, while at the same time I get distracted by emails, text messages, mobile phone calls, and social media like Twitter. So what can scientists glean from this kind of experiment?
Well, we can take your brain data in real time and actually see where you're most stressed, where you're paying the most attention, the greatest mental resources, and actually compare whether you're paying more attention at one moment than another. Usually when you're excited, there'll be a peak. However, when that peak is sustained, too much physiological arousal and attention equals stress. For example, when the phone's ringing, when you've got extra Twitter feeds coming through, we can actually see the cognitive demands that your brain's having to make to cope with that extra overload.
We're getting in a stressful situation every day because we've got this overwhelming amount of information that we're not able to see to, we're not able to work with. So there's always this feeling of things undone. There's this insidious stressfulness that is always there. We're thinking we must do, and we're working all the time we get home. We're constantly on the computers, and it's very bad. I mean, absenteeism from stress and depression is one of the biggest problems companies have worldwide now.
Mindjet, that funded the research, say that we need to use more diagrams like these to help us concentrate better. But others have taken a more radical approach. Atos conducts incapacity benefit assessments and is trying to run the Olympics Technology Centre, all while banning internal email in favour of phone calls and instant messages.
Email itself has become burdensome. And it's very tricky for our employees when they use email as a primary mode of communication to sift through what's important. In fact, we understand that more than half of our employees spend more than 2 hours a day just working through their emails, and probably only about 10% of that is of any real value to them.
Back in Brighton, the city's biggest employer is cutting back on emails too.
Rather than providing constant barrage of emails to our care professionals with the latest updates, we have an infonet, which is a central repository of all the information that they could need. And when that's been updated with new information, we'll send them one email that says now's the time to go and check out the new information that's been provided.
But of course, most of us are a long way from cutting back on email or other digital communications. 10, maybe even 5 years ago, it was perfectly possible to escape the demands of modern life and frankly the office, maybe sitting on the beach like here in Brighton. But now you can almost guarantee that everyone behind me, if they haven't got tablet computers, have definitely got smartphones connected to the office, to Facebook, to Twitter, to email 24/7. And it kind of makes you wonder whether the solution to information overload might be to chuck your device for good.